Welcome back to the second day of the Sankirtan orientation session. We're going to begin today's session with Navina Nirada Prabhu. He joined the Hare Krishna movement when he was 15 years old and immediately took to the intense hearing and chanting of Prabhupada's books and also distributing them. And here in America, during that time, which was what year?
84.
1984, we started noticing at the top of the Sankirtan newsletter, Nico Pellizzeri. And he stayed at the top of the newsletter for years and years. And so we always wondered. And of course, Navina Nirada Prabhu has distinguished himself throughout the ISKCON society by continuing the distribution of Prabhupada's books and the intense reading of them. He's now working on his Bhaktivedanta degree. And for several years, more than several, he was the minister in ISKCON for book distribution, traveled all over the world, in fact, several times a year, circling the globe. He teaches book distribution at his Vaishnav Academy in Mayapur. And now, somehow or other, by our good fortune, Krishna's grace, he's keeping his base here in San Francisco, opening San Francisco to the Krishna consciousness movement, or reopening it. And this morning he's going to share his insights and realizations about book distribution on the streets, where no one can excel, Navina Nirada. And so please, let's give him a warm ISV welcome.
Hare Krishna. Now I better say something good, huh? Thank you, Vaisheshika Prabhu. You're the reason why I'm here, and and I'm very grateful to be here with all of you. You already got started last night, so you're already on your way. Today's a packed program, so we'll start without further ado. Om Agyanatimarandasya Giranjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitannamanovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhunitananda Sidvaiti Giradhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripadam aham vande Sri Guru Dinataranam Paramanandamaravam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Well, thank you all for coming and taking part in this Sankirtan orientation seminar. This place, ISKCON of Silicon Valley, is a very special place here in North America, where book distribution is very vibrant due to the leadership of His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu and all the team ISV. So we're happy to host this program here and to take part in it. We're going to speak about how to distribute books on streets. And streets are readily available. They're everywhere, because that's how people travel these days. So if you want to meet people, just go out onto the streets. Of course, there are unlimited ways how to distribute Prabhupada's books, and you will explore some of those methods. You can go door to door, you can go specific locations, but most people are moving on the streets, because that's what streets are meant for. So if you want to meet people, go out to the streets. And even better if you're in a strategic location where streets meet, like intersections, you will see that a lot of traffic, a lot of people moving around. So how to find your right place? well, some of you might like it a little more quiet, some may like it a little more busy. Depends on your age, your mindset, your personal disposition. I remember when we were young, we really were just looking for the busiest spot in town, which was usually the walking street, right in the center middle of it, which is like in India in comparison, like Dadar station, when you have like an overpass over the railway, where everybody just walks and people come at you like really fast. And so choose a place that's kind of not threatening, but also not too quiet. Because sometimes if you're just on the street next to your house, it might be a little too quiet. Of course, you can go around on a walk and you just carry books with you, and whoever you meet, you just talk to them. And that also works. You can do a few books like that every day, just by going on your walk. And we do like that. So Srila Prabhupada himself personally, he gave the example. He went out, and back in the days, he went to tea stalls where people would drink tea and coffee and read newspapers. And so he would go up to them and say, "Excuse me, sir, where are you coming from?" Saying, you know, introducing these Back to Godhead magazine that he had published, and he was personally distributing them. So we should never think, oh, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a businessman, I'm a somebody. I can't just go up to Tom, Dick, and Harry and talk to them. Well, Prabhupada did it. Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur did it. They went out door to door and onto the streets talking to people. So that's what people do. They talk. That's what happens usually. They may. So it's very easy. You just have to find a place which is not too far away, because people are pretty much everywhere, but where people are comfortable to talk to you. Like if you'd be at a place where people just want to get away as fast as possible, then it would be hard for them to stop. So find a place where you can actually spend a moment with them. And I didn't see what you did last night. Did you go through the step-by-step how to stop people and how to interact with them?
This morning.
That's going to come up later on. Okay, so we'll keep it generic, but still try to be specific. There's a Chinese saying that if you don't have a smiling face, don't open a shop or a restaurant. Because people take one look at you and they think, oh no, I just lost my appetite. I'm not going to eat here. In fact, I was in New York, and I remember a place which before, even if I was hungry, I just changed my mind whenever I passed by it. But now that management has changed, even if I'm not hungry, I think like, hey, let's go in there and let's eat something. Because if the people are nice, then you want to spend time with them. So before going out onto the street, look into the mirror and ask yourself, would I like to talk to this person? So look nice and behave nice. And the face is the index of the mind. So just by having a pleasant disposition, people will want to deal with you. They will want to talk with you. And sometimes people just want to avoid you. You ever have that? Some friends, they just want to avoid you. They just, go around you. And you think like, what is it? What's wrong with me? So it really starts with doing our sadhana, by getting up early in the morning and chanting good rounds. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then anyone who will meet on the street, they will just kind of have this, whatever it is that you have, I want it. What is it that you have that makes you special, that makes you happy? I want it. And the opposite is also true. When we are not in a good state of consciousness, people will take one look at us and they will decide, whatever you have, I want nothing to do with it. I just want to get as far away from you as possible. So, to work on ourselves, to improve our sadhana, to study Prabhupada's books on a daily basis is really the foundational principle. Then you will become like a magnet. When you're like a magnet, then all the little stuff gets attracted to the magnet. It's just naturally drawn towards it. Like you can see, Srila Prabhupada, he had such a gravity, such a depth of Krishna consciousness. It created a vortex where countless people were just drawn to him. They were just attracted to him. And they complied with whatever he asked them to do. So then naturally when you meet people, It's helpful if you talk to them, because although nonverbal communication also works, and we'll speak a word or two about that, but it does help if you talk to them. So the first thing usually we do is we make eye contact. Not that you stare at people and you stare them down, but you just look at them, kind of like, hey, I've seen you, yeah, and you see me, so, you know, we got a thing going on. And some people will try to avoid you, and some people will just smile right back at you. So depending on how the disposition is, then you will get an idea. Does this person want to talk to me or not? You can still like pretend like you didn't see the evil eye that they just gave you, and you just, you know, nonchalantly go up to them and talk to them, and sometimes they get over it, but sometimes then they will avoid responding. So you see, this person is not very likely to want to talk to me, so would not put too much energy into that. On the street, usually stopping people is a big thing, because it's a street, people are moving, it's busy, there may be some noise. So it helps to have some opening lines that are very catchy, that are catching people's attention. So like, I see you're wearing your badge, your tags, you know, so Raga Sindhu, right? Yeah. Very good. Where are you coming from? Connecticut, that's where all the nice people live, right? Yes, I knew it, just by seeing you. So just say something nice about them. It's not complicated. In fact, we can do this right now. Turn to the person next to you and say something nice about them. Hey, Vaishnav. Nice jacket. You like that jacket? Keeps you warm, right? Yeah? Good. Okay, turn around, say something nice back to the other person, if you haven't done so. Was that difficult? It's easy, right? It's super easy. Just say something to appreciate the person. I was just in New York in the subway, and it was very cold, even down there. And the devotees are doing Harinam, and they're distributing books. And in the New York subway, people are just running. They're just running. But there's some devotees who I was with, one especially Mahotsa, he just tells people, oh, I love your sweater. Oh, I love your beard. I love this, I love that. All day long, he's just appreciating people. And people are like, hey, that's nice. Nobody ever said that to me. Okay, let me talk to this guy for a moment, you know. This guy knows what it's all about, because he appreciated me. So, become a very appreciative person, and you will see how people will immediately return the favor and appreciate you by spending a little time with you. So you need to catch people's attention. And you do that by looking at them, by talking to them. I just ask questions, because questions are hooks, and we'll speak more about that today as the presentation goes on. So I ask everybody, so where are you from, Vaishnav? Chicago. Really? Is it cold there? Yeah? Yeah? You like California? It's nice here, huh? Okay, welcome to California. Here, let me show you one of these. So, everybody likes to speak about themselves, where they're from, what they do, what their job is, what they studied. It's personal. That's how people interact. So, not intimidating questions, not like, okay, how much money do you make, right? I want to know it right now, you know? Like before taxes and after taxes. What kind of car do you drive? You know? But if you tell people, oh, you know, that's a nice jacket. Where do you got that jacket? People will spend half an hour telling you about their jacket. So you have to know what's socially acceptable and what's not acceptable. And that depends on the culture. If you tell somebody nice jacket in certain places in Europe, they will look at you like you're weird. But here, it's completely okay. It's perfectly all right. You talk about dress, you talk about, you know, different things. Once we were at a car wash in Burlingame, and we sat down as the car was being washed, and Vaisheshika Prabhu turned to the lady next to him, middle-aged lady, and said, oh, very nice dog. What kind of dog is that? And as she was going to explain about her most cherished dog, I just went to the car to get the Bhagavad Gita, because he knew that if she starts talking to him, she will end up taking the book. And so what you say initially may not be, this is the Bhagavad Gita, this is the absolute truth, you need this. It may just be to establish a rapport, to establish a relationship, to establish some trust. The primary reason why people don't take books is not because they're not interested, but because they don't trust you. Unless there is that element of trust, why should I take anything from you? Why should I speak to you even? And how do we build trusting relationship? The first step is open communication. You greet them, you say something nice about them, you ask them something, you engage in a little bit of dialogue, and then you give them the book. Of course, you can also stand on the street, and we see certain groups do that, but we don't see them actually talking to many people. There's a lot of people who just pass by, they may take a look, but because they just stand there like, you know, it's not very attractive. So if you want to increase your success, learn how to ask the right kind of questions that are relatable. I just go up to people and ask them, yoga or meditation? Just as an entry question, yoga or meditation? And then they're a little puzzled, but oftentimes they'll say this one or that one or both or none, but they start smiling because they see, like, you know, like you're more intellectual or more spiritual? Or where are you from? Just get them to talk about their place. Or, how is it going? Okay? Okay is the new great, right? You're doing okay. That's good. Wonderful. Yeah. So, just say something to break the ice, because initially there's a bit of ice there, you know? The ice age, things are a little stuck, people are a little, you know, timid, a little shy. So you have to overcome that just by speaking about something. It can be the weather, it can be anything. So, and then you introduce the book. But first you need to capture their attention. If people don't want to talk to you, I got very good advice for you. Let them move on. There's 8 billion people on the planet and counting, and there is no lack of people. If they don't want to talk to you, just let them go, deal with the next person. So don't run after people who don't want to talk to you. And you will see how Krishna will send you people from all directions, and just deal with whoever is there. In a group of people, find out who is most receptive. Some people want to avoid you, some people are paying attention. Deal with those who pay attention. It's like in a classroom. Some people mind their own business and some people actually connect. So you have to just respond to them. And then, as early as possible, put the book in their hand, because they need to have something that they can hold on to. Put the book in their hand. And people have 3 questions in their minds. Those 3 questions are, who are you? What's this book? And what's in it for me? That's the bottom line. If you can answer these 3 questions in the first 23 seconds, most likely you have a good chance they will take a book. That's what everybody wants to know. Who are you? And what are you doing here? And what's this book? And what will I gain from this? In New York, they only want to know number 3. You know, what's in it for me? They don't mind about the rest. Just what's in it for me? So come to the point and just tell people what you're doing. And they will be relieved, because, you know, it could be something else. Could be... So, be clear about who you are and what you're representing and what you want to do. That depends really on your mindset. When I started out, I was telling people so many different types of things. I was telling people, you know, I'm a monk and we're teaching this Vedic philosophy. And they looked at me and said, does your mother know that you're out here? You know, because I was 15, you know, so cops used to pick me up, call my mom. So then I changed, okay, I'm a student. They're like, okay, yeah, he looks like he's a student. All right, I'm studying this, you know, and I'm just trying to show this to people and sharing the knowledge. So whoever you are, you have to have a clear sense of identity, a sense of self. Did you ever deal with somebody who was confused about their identity? It's kind of difficult to deal with them because, you know, you can't really gauge them. You don't really know where they're at. So really figure out who are you, and, you know, you can tell, you know, look, I'm working like this professionally, and this is what I do for community service, you know. And that's acceptable. People like that. Companies like that. It's part of their, you know, part of their diversity program. So know what you're doing and how to present it in a way that people can relate to it. It's one thing to make sense of it yourself. It's another thing to communicate it so people can appreciate that. And sharing knowledge, helping people, that's something that everybody can relate to, because people are suffering. They're not in a good space. So we want to help them. And sometimes it's difficult to come straight out and tell people what we're doing, because they may not be able to relate to it or to appreciate it like that. So just put it in a way that people can relate to it. We're sharing this knowledge, we're presenting this culture, we're giving people an opportunity. And I usually stress on the positive, because speaking about negativities can kind of be a trap. It can kind of capture you. And so I try to speak about positives and just try to capture people's imagination, capture their mind. And then once you have something that piques their interest, you have to pay attention. When you say things and you say like, books on yoga meditation teaches you how to get free from stress, then sometimes you see a light goes on and they say, oh, yoga, or oh, meditation, or stress, or this or that. Then you pick up on that and you continue on that. Huh? Talk about what the person is interested and talk about what's relevant to the person. It takes a little bit of experience to do that, but it's not too complicated. Of course, you may also just stand there and think, oh, no one's interested in nothing, nobody likes anything, and let them all just pass by. And you just wait till one person talks to you. And that may happen every hour or so, that somebody comes up to you and talks to you. But if you want to have more engagement, it's easier if you go out and you start approaching people and you start talking to them. Now, some people are rushing. It's very hard to stop them. Easier to just take people who are either standing or they're doing something. They may be talking on the phone, they may be typing, they may be eating, they may be waiting, they may be looking around, they may wait for their Uber, whatever, They may wait in front of a store, someone else of the family is inside shopping. Those are very easy targets, They're like a sitting duck. They're just sitting there, just waiting for you to go up to them and approach them. Sometimes that's not available, so you have to take people who are moving. So you have to learn how to stop them in a nice way. We used to do the tackle, which means you try to stop people by any way, by any means. But after a while, you learn how to deal more with the energy of the people. So you just say something and you see how the energy comes back and you see if this person is ready to talk to you or not. So usually I try to stop people just by projecting positive energy and just say something nice to them, welcome them. And like there's a group of people walking towards you, like students. So I ask them, so who's the smart one amongst you? And they start pointing at each other and laughing. And then I ask, so who's the money? Who's the rich kid? Okay. Or another thing, if they're a little older and they want to look like very cool, I ask them, so what's the name of the band? Like what's the name of your band? Like they're musicians or something, What's the name of your band? And then they kind of get puzzled and start laughing. And just something to break the ice and to capture their mind. You have business people, ask them, so how's business? Did you make your first million today yet? Or, how's things? Oh, you actually work. You actually got a job, huh? They're still paying you, right? So just say something that they can relate to. If it's ladies, usually ask them, so yoga or meditation? Or another thing that's very popular, are you spiritual? Especially if they're African American, you'd see how 80% of them just stop right in their tracks and say, yes, I am spiritual. You say, thank you, God bless, wonderful. So we're with the church, and we're showing this today to all the spiritual people. And you would be surprised how they just stop, pause, and they deal with it, because you appreciate who they are and what they're interested in. So I don't know how the time frame goes. We started a little late, so I think we have 7 minutes for questions and comments. Yes?
Is there a use the mic, please? Someone give a mic. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Do we have to deal with, let's say, for example, if I'm talking to an Indian person or if I'm talking to a Westerner, is there a way that the approach is different?
Slightly. This is the generic stuff that's same with everybody, but slightly. Like you talk to an Indian person, you can say Namaste or even Hare Krishna, and they're like, yeah, it's cool, it's all right. And with a Western person, usually the generic hi, you know, is more suitable, so to speak. So just the first initial few words. And of course, you can get into something very specific, but initially I would just keep it kind of generic. And then you get more deep, you know, as the conversation evolves, so to speak. Because oftentimes you see, especially here, that you have people from Indian or Asian descent, and they want to be more American than the Americans. And if you go just, you know, cultural language and all that, they may not be comfortable with that. Sometimes they grew up here, and they may not be that religious. And sometimes you have Westerners who are very interested in, you know, what you have to present. So you just have to be a little subtle. And with experience, it will naturally evolve. Good thing is to use their name. If you see their name, you know, on the door or on them, or say something that's related to them. Like I was in Moscow airport, and as a young kid, you know, I had a guitar on his back, and I asked him, do you play the guitar? And he said, yeah, how did you know? You know? So, you know, you have all these people who go to the conventions, and they're wearing these big badges, you know, like badges that are literally this big, you know, like if they're lost, so they can send them back to their company. And so you say, so, yeah, Mr. Sharma, huh? So you're here for the cyber security conference? Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's me. Yes. Yeah, nice meeting you too and talking to you. Yeah, do we know each other? Yeah. I said, do you look at this thing? You know, like you're walking around with a big screen on you. You know, like that. So just be a little perceptible, and see how it goes. But I would not get too much into, because one good thing about this place here is that the whole world is here, and diversity is the mantra of the age. So people are a little more culturally aware and sensitive, at least in some parts of the country. And so you see how you can project. But dress in a way that you're comfortable and that the other person is comfortable. Like when I go on Haight Street, I'm in dhoti. When I'm in the business district, I'm in pant and shirt, same on the campus. So you have to know a little bit like who your audience is and what you're dealing with.
Roji, one more question. Thank you for that. Like if I'm talking to a person, like for a minute, for most of the time, do I have to talk, or do I have to let him ask some questions? Or like, is there any kind of which one is better?
A ratio? No, I usually ask the questions and let them do most of the talking. But by asking the questions, I steer the conversation where I want to go. You know, so I ask them where they're from, what they work, not like tak, but just to make conversation like that. Then you say a little something about yourself, and then you give them a chance to speak. Because people want to talk. If you just give them a chance to talk, they'll love you. You know? Because that's what people are looking for. Why social media is so big? Because people have a forum, a way of how to express themselves. And they're ready to pay billions for that, just because someone supposedly listens to them. But if you pay attention and you're actually interested, you're actually intrigued by the human factor, then people will sense that. Not like, yeah, keep on talking, and then, oh, okay, now I can talk again, you know? You have to actually be interested in the person. And why should we be interested in a person? Because they're part of Krishna. And it's our duty to try to help them to reconnect with Krishna. So you can't fake it. It's not something superficial. You know, empathy, to have actual care and concern for the person, it has to come from your, not just philosophical understanding, but from your heart. That I want this person to be well. I want this person to improve in their life. And they can feel that. They can sense that. It's something very palpable, very plausible. And they will appreciate that, because everyone does. Not just dogs, but even humans. They feel. Okay. Other points?
So one more question. So after I hand over the book, do I have to let him ask the questions on the
No,
Gita,
I don't like people to once they start asking the questions, they control the conversation. You should stay in the driver's seat. You give them an idea that they can, you know, but you ask the questions. So we'll do that later on, how to present the book and how to ask the right questions, all that, you know, that will come later on. But in general, if it's, yeah, I'll answer a short question, but I won't get into arguments or discussions because it's never ending. It can go on and on and on and on. And our point is not to discuss, to argue, to win any kind of discussions. We just want them to get the book and to get a good impression. So the main thing is how to stop them, how to make eye contact, how to project your positive spiritual energy that you have built up. And this is the proof of your sadhana. This is the proof of your practice. Am I actually doing my bhajan in an authentic and in a serious and diligent way? Or are people just walking by and just, you know, not paying attention to me? If our sadhana is deep, people should be drawn to us. They should be like, hey, who are you? I want to meet you. I want to hang out with you. I want to become like you. I was out in Mayapur, going on my walk. I met 3 students on the road in front of the place where I stay. And so I gave them books and I asked them, so what's your mission in life? I ask everybody, what's your mission in life? Is it survival or is it enlightenment? And then they say, yeah, you know, a bit of both, or either this or that, or enlightenment. Whatever it is, that's fine. You know, we don't mind any answer. Because it leads to them taking the book. So I'd asked them and they said, what do you want to become? They said, we want to become like you. And it was a little shocking, it was a little surprising to me, because it's kind of straightforward, you know. But they said, yeah, but, you know, first you had to, one was doing Sanskrit philosophy, another want to be a teacher. But they were in Mayapur for the specific purpose of figuring out how to become more devotional in their life. So learn how to work with questions and give people the information that they're looking for. Other questions? 1 or 2 more before we hand over? Yes?
I would like to ask you one question that we might be asked. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
We might get asked by people that what religion you're representing. So is it, what would be our answer for that?
Well, what religion are you representing? It depends. Oftentimes people don't have a clear concept. You can say Hinduism, you can say Gaudiya Vaishnava, you can say the Vedic tradition. So all these answers are correct. You can also tell them this is a spiritual science. That's how Srila Prabhupada presented it. Because oftentimes people are into philosophy and spirituality, but they're not into, you know, organized religion as such. So you have to see where the person comes from, with which connotation they ask that question, and then I would answer it like that. Does that work for you?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Mostly what my personal understanding is, I do not like to define our movement is with any religious group, like it's more like spiritual,
yes,
or Vedic philosophy, what we are trying to reach out to people with. So Hinduism or any other religion, I think personally I do not want to define.
Yes, because people perceive it as sectarian or as exclusive. But when you present something in a more inclusive and in a more broad way, then people have a better chance of accepting it. Of course, sometimes they just want to know, okay, so who are you with, you know? And you just have to be sure about who you are and what you do, you know? So, Hare Krishna, of course, you know? This is the most normal thing to be. But you have to see what can that person appreciate.
Sure.
Who are you? I am whoever you want me to be. I'm the person who is here to help you, to give you this greatest gift. So it's an art. It's an art, and we have to be truthful. At the same time, we'll realize that the absolute truth is vast, and there's different aspects, some of which people can appreciate, and some may be a little incomprehensible. So speak about the things that you feel strongly about, like what your convictions are.
Sure.
And that usually is very convincing, because if you're convinced about it, it's very easy to convince somebody else about it. But if you're not sure about it, then maybe leave that aside. Like, I'm not a big science guy, because it just wasn't my thing.
Right.
So I usually don't get into the science stuff. That's just easier for me.
Me too.
So, you know what I mean. So speak about the things that you really feel like, yeah, you know, this is who we are and this is what we do. And people will relate to that.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhu.
Oftentimes I speak more about what we do than what we are, because ideologies, philosophies, people want to know, okay, so what is it practically? What are you doing here? What's the actual contribution to the landscape? What are you doing? I ask everybody, so what's your job? What do you do? And they say, oh, I go to school. So I say, that's great. So you're one of the good guys, right? I ask everybody, what's your contribution? How do you want to make a difference in the world? And that's more tangible. That's more relatable. Because we can talk philosophy, but the street is a very transient place. So you have a few moments to make an impression. People don't have long time to speak, so we're passing these, showing these to all the people who are here today, and people leave a donation. You will hear more about how to present the books, but if you learn the art of just carrying books with you wherever you go, wherever you are, you will see that Krishna opens so many opportunities for you to introduce Prabhupada's books to them. And people are out and about looking for things and, you know, buying things, and they want to engage with the world. So if you're at the right place at the right time, you can distribute a lot of books just by being there. So thank you for taking this opportunity to come here and explore the different avenues of book distribution. So even though you may think, I have a busy life, I got family, I got business, I got so many things to do, you hit the road every day. So just carry books with you in your car, wherever you are, when you commute, when you go shopping, when you go to the office, to the bank, to the post, just have books with you. Start talking to the person next to you in line. You ever been in a post office? It's kind of a rhetorical question, but you know, you stand there with 15 other people in line, and so what do? Look at the stuff that's there? Or you just start talking to the person next to you. Same in the shop, and you just pull out a book and you give it to them. And, you know, it's normal. It's perfectly all right. I know some devotees, they go into malls, they go into stores, and in between the aisles they distribute books. But you'll figure it out. Where there's a will, there's a way. Prabhupada was a man with a mission. He had a burning desire to share Krishna consciousness with everybody. And he didn't feel that any place was unsuitable or below par or not acceptable. He gave books to Captain Pandey on the boat. He gave books to every program, every university, wherever he had speaking engagements, because this is the sampradaya of the book. This is our gift, our contribution. Just like you go someplace to visit a relative, this is my last closing point. You want to bring a gift, something that's pleasing, that's beneficial, that's suitable for that person. But how do you know? You don't know that person so well, and you don't know what they're up to. How can you give them something that's really gonna make them happy? We are very fortunate that we have these books of Prabhupada, because this is the greatest gift that we can share to the world. And it gives us a carte blanche, an open invitation to go anywhere and everywhere. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, by my order, you go out and become a teacher by distributing this knowledge. So if people have questions, who are you, what are you doing, are you allowed to do this? Of course. We are working for the man, and we're doing this for the benefit of everybody. So thank you for taking part in this training, and I hope to see you out Not just today, not just tomorrow, but for as long as possible. It's a lifetime mission. It's not something we just do when we have nothing else to do. But it's giving a real meaning and purpose, a real drive. You can see the difference in somebody who has a mission and a person who does not have a mission. You recognize it immediately by the way they walk, they talk. You can see this is a man with a mission. Or this is a person who's just another floating device, you know, just another leaf blown in the wind. So the more we connect ourselves to this mission of Mahaprabhu, the more you will gain gravity, clarity, purpose, conviction, determination, all that good stuff. That's also useful for all the other aspects in life. But if we don't have this spiritual gravity, everything else is just a farce. It's just drama. It's just fake. Because it ends with the material dimension. Hare Krishna. All goes Prabhupada.